Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Wow, what has happened today in the Commons is incredible. The traitor Mandelson has gone. His career is over. Hopefully, he'll never be able to recover from this in terms of making a political comeback. But what about Starmer? Starmer today tried to change how people could vote so that he can keep secrets. But what was revealed in a brilliant cross-examination by Kemi Badenoch during Prime Minister's questions was that he knew. He couldn't lie anymore. He couldn't dodge the question. The simple fact is that your Prime Minister knew that Mandelson was still talking to Epstein when he gave him the American ambassador job. He knew he was staying with a convicted paedophile because he had already been charged and served a sentence for that. He knew this. But your Prime Minister, who constantly says, first duty of a Prime Minister is to be the protection of his people. Absolute bullshit. The first duty of Keir Starmer is to protect himself and his mates. So tonight, on the Jon Gaunt Show, live, uncensored, and straight from the heart, I'm telling you that I'm disgusted with our political class. The Labour Party in particular. Starmer must go. Mandelson needs to go to prison. Did you know he could get a life sentence for what he's done? He won't. I bet you he'll get a little slap on the wrist, and then he'll be, before you know it, he'll be on Big Brother or in the jungle. This corruption has to stop. And I noticed a lot of the mainstream media. Let's talk about Emily Maitlis. Let's talk about John Sopel. Let's talk about the fat slug, Adam Bolton from Sly News. They're all mates with Mandelson, so they can't quite believe what's happened. But they need to wake up, smell the coffee, because their chum is a traitor. Their chum is basically a spy. When he was sitting in the cabinet under Gordon Brown, he was telling that foul paedophile what the government were up to. Oh, we got no sound. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can just sort that out. Tell me if you can hear the sound, because that was a brilliant start. That's really annoyed me. Let's go. Let's try and find this. You can't hear me. No sound. Can anybody hear me tonight? If you can hear me, please tell me. Steve MOT. Sounds good. So it's just your sound, David KT. Check your sound. Right, I'm going to carry on because people are enraged like I am. Where was I up to? Oh, yeah. So Mandelson was sitting in cabinet and he was giving secrets to Epstein. That is treachery. That is betrayal, not just of Starmer and betrayal of the cabinet or the government. It's betrayal of every single one of us. Why? Because at that point, Britain was basically bankrupt. And if that was the case, the last thing we need is him telling all his banking, yes, I said banking, all his bankers who were mates of his, what was going on. Can you just imagine how many billions, and I mean billions, they could make with that information? Okay, you can stop telling me you can hear me now. Obviously you can. Somebody was just winding me up, or they need to buy a new computer. So imagine, he's telling people what our government is up to. He's a traitor. I think he should go to prison. Right, could be for life. He won't, because he's part of the establishment. So that's number one offence. Number two offence, Starmer today, Kemi got him right in a corner where he had to say, yes, I did know he was still speaking to Epstein. Not just speaking to him, stayed in his house while he was in prison. So we're led to believe. This man was a paedophile. He's obviously dead now. He committed suicide or whatever. I don't really care, but he's dead. This man was a paedophile. No Minister of State, no MP should be talking to him. But Starmer, he seemed to have this rule where depends how much of a paedophile he is. Because how else can he justify it? The man had been found guilty of paedophilia. No government minister should have been talking to him. But Mandelson was on the make. Did you hear all the bullshit about, oh yeah, £75,000 went into my boyfriend / husband's bank account? I didn't know it was there. What? It's just rubbish. Even if you're a millionaire, what, you wouldn't notice 75 grand going into a bank account? It's absolutely incredible, the lies they're coming out with. And I'll tell you more. I think that people in the establishment, I've just told you about the media lovers, the John Soft Sopel, Emily Maitlis, dopey mare, Adam Bolton, the slug of Sly TV. They all still think Mandelson's a great bloke. And today, I've been saying this for the past 2 weeks, that the relationship between the media, a broadcaster, and indeed an MP or a Minister of State should be the same as a dog and a lamppost. The media being the dog. But it's not. They're all in bed with each other. Adam Bolton, we'll just go back to him for a moment. Did you know he married Angie Hunter, who was Tony Blair's gatekeeper? He left his wife for her. Oh, maybe they fell in love. But they're all in the same club. There's been articles today and yesterday from people saying, well, the thing is, Peter Mandelson had all the gossip. He knew everybody. And if you wanted to get on in your career, you had to get on with him. You lick spittles. Oh, as I closed the gas chamber door, I was just following orders. No. You are only caring about your own political career and how to get up that greasy pole. Not just those people I've named, but the whole of the Westminster elite, so-called journalists. No wonder we didn't hear about the expenses scandal for so long. And then if you think, well, it's only politics, doesn't really affect you and I, whilst we were, or the government were grappling back in 2010, 2011 with this huge recession, he was giving secrets to, what's his name again? Epstein. There is now rumours that Epstein was giving those secrets to Putin. Mandelson is a scumbag traitor. I'd hang the bastard. I would. Off Tower Bridge. The slimy toad. His superior attitude. And what happened just 2 weeks ago? The BBC, the Pravda, the propaganda arm of the government. They had him on the Laura Kunsberg show. I said at the time, why was it a pre-record? It was a pre-record because he's clever enough to know if you do it live, there's always a danger you can get stitched up or said the wrong thing. So he demanded a pre-record. He's got no right to demand everything. And they were talking about, oh, maybe he's going to make another comeback. What? The man is a traitor. But knowing all this, Keir Starmer, your Prime Minister, I never voted for him, your Prime Minister decided he was the best person to be the ambassador. I wonder why. Do you know who else was up for it? William Hague. Not got a lot of time for him, but I think he'd do a good job. And the other person was the woman who was already doing it, who Trump got on with. Now I'm going to let you into another little theory, and it's only a theory. Everybody thought that Trump would say, no, we're not having him, and would kick up a fuss and want Nigel Farage. He didn't. Can I humbly suggest that maybe Trump was playing a very clever card? Because Trump already had the Epstein files. Perhaps Trump knew that he was going to be done bang to rights. I'm talking about Mandelson. So he let Starmer appoint him, and then he can unleash the dogs of hell. Because that's what's happened. Each day, a little bit more information. A little bit more information. that shows what Mandelson really is. But as I say, Mandelson is just the tip of this huge iceberg of the establishment media, the mainstream, lamestream media who are in bed with the politicians, those who want to rule us. They're in bed with them, which is why you should support alternative broadcasters, either me or Dan Wootton, Mike Graham. Well, Mike Graham's not really alternative, is he? But whoever you want to do, because we need independent voices, because we would not know any of this without things like Guido Fawkes and stuff like that. We just wouldn't. They take us for mugs. And I say now, Starmer today in Parliament, basically he said, yeah, we're going to have full disclosure. Stop worrying about it. It'll be fine. But he said, but not anything that's a state secret. So that's loads of the stuff he won't talk about. Anything that might affect another foreign power. So would that be America? And that was the third one. There was a third one as well. Oh, and I'll decide what we're going to redact or not. Me and my government. Now, this is something you've not heard before. I'm going to praise Angela Rayner. She basically said, up yours, Starmer. To clear ourselves, this has got to be an independent committee who decides. Starmer argued like a dog for that not to happen. Now, Angela Rayner has got her own agenda. She's very pissed off about the fact she got caught out fiddling her stamp duty. But she wants to be the next Prime Minister. Mark my words, I think she may well do it. Because what she was saying today in those arguments was correct. It has to be independent. Otherwise, it smells, it stinks of bullshit and a cover-up. And haven't we had enough of that recently? So, I think Starmer's position is untenable. He might be gone by the end of tonight. I certainly think he'll be gone by the weekend. But I say Angela Rayner will probably be your next Prime Minister. Now, that's a bit of a nightmare for me. But remember how this works. I'm not saying the whole Labour government's going to fall, because it's not. They'll elect a new person. And the lefties now have got their tails up. Oh, yes. And they think Angela's the woman. So Angela Rayner becomes the PM. Now, you might say, well, that's fine. Farage will wipe the floor with her. He may well do. But we're heading towards nightmare time. This was the government that came to power, a party that came to power and said, chaos is over. The grown-ups are back in the room. 15, and if you count today, what he's just done today, 16 U-turns under the spineless blancmange amoeba that is Keir Starmer. Keir, word of advice. Have you not done enough now? You've not done enough damage. You fucked everything up. Go now. Man, go now. And take lick spittles like West Streeting with you, because people are saying, what about West Streeting? Who was his mentor? Let me tell you. Peter Mandelson. Morgan, whatever his name is, the guy who Morgan McSweeney. He should go. In fact, if there's enough rope, let him hang from Tower Bridge. I'm only using Tower Bridge and hanging as a political metaphor. I don't mean it. But Starmer, and I don't mean this either, Starmer, glass of whiskey, into the study, or revolver. Bang. Thank you very much and good night. Again, it's a political metaphor. I'm not suggesting violence. I am fuming, as you can see. I haven't had a shave. My hair's a mess. I've got my legs sorted. Well, I'll tell you about that later. We've had progress. I've had it redressed now. And by God, is that doctor and that doctor's surgery down the road at my daughter's, are they going to get both barrels after what I found out today? That's a different subject. I'll tell you about it later. If you like what I do, if you think the Jon Gaunt Show is worth supporting, please follow Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. When you go there, the sign will come up saying, do you wish to subscribe? Say yes, doesn't cost you any money, means you always know when I'm doing a show. And on top of that, if you'd like to donate, just click that little dollar sign and donate as much or as little as you can. We need money to keep on providing an alternative view to the mainstream, lamestream narrative who have let you down. Oh, Peter's back. Peter's so witty. Peter's back. Peter's going to save the country. Peter's just saving himself. And Starmer has no backbone, so Starmer's got to go as well. So you can donate that way. You can also donate by going to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Simple as that, a $5 upwards. So if you'd like to buy me a coffee or beer, that's the way to do it. Right, let's get started. David KT, you're going to get a good whipping when I found it, because you say there was no sound. There was. Next time, before you write something like that, David, check it's not your poxy cheap computer. How many pulling your leg? Before you panic me. I don't know whether you can hear me or not, can I? But don't do that again, please. Nathan Rowland, 196. They knew it's the club. Keir Starmer. No, we can't read that out, you idiot. You don't know whether he was abused. You don't know whether Jimmy Savile was involved. You're just spreading shit. Clear off. Go on one of those stupid shows. Don't come on mine. And David Curtin says he still can't hear. David, get lost. You're making a mistake. I'm awaiting your apology. Evening, John, says Steve MOT. How's the knees today? They were dreadful this morning, but I've been to my doctors. I've had it dressed, and I'll tell you about it later. Strawberry Atheist, one of my regulars, says, I can hear. Thanks for you. Good sound here, says Steve. Loud and clear, says Strawberry. Lena says loud and clear. And so does, can't even read that one out. Tartan Mandancy, whatever your name is, loud and clear. Why don't you get some names that are easy to read out? Now we know Loud Quebecan why his mate Blair got rid of the most appropriate outcome for such activities. What do you mean by that? The death penalty. The death penalty was Jack, the man of straw, who got rid of that with the EU. But I take on board what you're saying. Paedophilia, I would definitely string them up. Like that, you know, the case, or the case of the lady, 19 stabs. Starmer has stabs in the head. Starmer hasn't even had the good grace to go and see her mum. Disgraceful. Nathan says the sound was great from the beginning. Okay. Jackie, one of my top fans, she says she can hear me. Great. Stuart Lowe says the same. Well, let's get round to the rest of you. Oh, Biggleswade. I must get me Biggleswade. Loud and clear in Biggleswade, says Tattooed Taxi. Steve Lowe says he's gone. David KT says, you're back. Yeah, we were never away. It was your poxy computer, because you're the only one who said that. Lena, well, let's get to the discussion now. Stop telling me whether you can hear or not. I know you can. Starmer is compromised. Well said. He is. And if there's a Russian connection, you know me, I'm not very anti-Russian. They all want to eat our babies and all that establishment crap they come out with. But if Putin was using Mandelson stroke Epstein for his information, that's bloody dangerous. Really dangerous. Let alone the domestic thing. Your mortgage is going through the roof. You ain't got no money. This is 10 or 15 years ago. Mandelson's husband is picking up 75 grand. And I'll tell you something. You don't sell out your country only for 75 grand. There'll be a lot more. And Starmer, the stinking hypocrite. Look at the way he went at Nathan Gill. And Nathan Gill got 10 years in jail. I'm not saying it was right what he did. It was wrong. But where are all those Puritans now who wanted him whipped and hung and drawn and quartered? Your views, please. Starmer has his own little foibles, yes, but we don't want to talk about that at the moment. I said this once and I'll say it again, says Stuart Lowe. This is the worst government in many, many years. Well, I don't know about that, my friend. I know for sure the competition's strong, but it's the biggest political scandal. Somebody said today, oh, it's bigger than Profumo. Of course it's bigger than bloody Profumo. Somebody yesterday, in fact, it was my friend Martin on GB News. He said, oh, it's the money. The story here is the money. No, it's not, Martin. The story, in case you've forgotten, is that girls were being and boys, by the sound of it, were being sexually abused by Epstein and his cronies. And certain people were facilitating it. And people like, this is what I can say about him, although I don't think he'll be in the suing mode at the moment. What I can say is Mandelson didn't seem to think that was too much of a problem. He could still be the ambassador. Our own Prime Minister. Oh, well. What did he think? Oh, it was just a bit of paedophilia. Just a bit of upskirting, was it, Starmer? How much paedophilia do you accept in the people around you in power? And a very interesting Epstein email has been released where he asks, what's his name? Mandelson, about his present. Was it a Mexican? Was it a Cuban? Was it a Honduran? Is he talking about cigars? I somehow doubt it. And that's why when he was on the Laura Kunsberg show the other week and he was being treated as if he was some great political mastermind, it made me want to vomit and eat my own vomit. That's how upset I was. He said, oh, no, well, I never knew about Epstein and what he was doing with the girls, probably because I'm gay. So he never brought up the subject. That was his defense. I remember doing a podcast and laughing about it. Why aren't I on the mainstream? Well, I know why I'm not on the mainstream, because I'm the one who can see where the truth is. That's why I need you to help fund me. Please press that $sign now and donate some cash. Please do so. Please also feel free to go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and donate some cash there as well. Chris says, George Galloway calls this scandal Mandygate. Yeah, I bet he does. Where are we going next? All in the same bed, says Gwen Evans. You are right. Nick Seeley says it's the establishment. Thank you very much indeed. Olson loves Manchester, says, and Stammer. Well, I don't know what that means. Ah, where have you been, my darling? It's Maggie Young. Play up Sky Blues. Not heard from you. I hope you're better, Maggie. She says he's a double agent. He's a spy. Yes, he is. And that's why I say metaphorically, let's hang the bastard from Tower Bridge. Traitorous scum. And don't forget, he was the architect of Blair years. He's one of the people. Do you remember the line? This is going to wind you up. He bragged about, yes, we wanted to rub the white working classes' noses in diversity. He's one of the architects of that, Mandelson. But he's been on the take by the look of it. He's been supporting and staying in paedophiles' houses. And then Starmer doesn't give him the sack straight away. In fact, Starmer gave him a job. You can be the most important ambassador at the most important political time in the West's history, apart from the Second World War, I would suggest. When we've got a leader like Trump in the White House, we need somebody we can rely on. Oh, I'll tell you what, bring Mandelson over and his husband. It beggars belief, doesn't it? And these scum want to run and ruin your lives. Starmer's always been compromised. He has dark connections. Well, I hope you can back that up, my friend. Ben Asik, how else would a middle manager, pen pusher, come to power without outside help? It doesn't mean that he's corrupt, though, does it? I can see why the powers that be want him in position of power. I can see that. But he's not a leader, like I keep saying. I'm not going to fall out about it. He's not a leader. 28 likes, no contributions. Come on, I'm working my balls off here. People have been jailed for much less. Well said. Joseph Levy, great shout out, Gaunty. Thank you very much. Tell all your friends. Egwin 100, another crook in the House of Lords. Well, he's not in the House of Lords anymore, is he? Yeah, he won't be in any house. I'd have him homeless. I'd have him swinging under Tower Bridge and then living there. In fact, that would be too good for him. I can't believe it. How do you betray your country like that? And then the stinking, filthy hypocrite and Starmer. Starmer made some quip about Nathan Gill. Don't get me wrong. I'm not supporting him. Nathan Gill did wrong. I'm not sure it was 10 years wrong. And I'll tell you something. If Mandelson gets less than 10 years, it'll just prove again how much corruption there is in the establishment. Hi, John. Power corrupts, absolutely. Machiavelli, isn't it? Yes. Follow the money. Maybe he's just another rich socialist who doesn't notice a trifling 75 grand dropping into their current account. It's just spare change. Niven, I love your humour. I love your sarcasm, but doesn't it make you depressed? I agree with you. It's absolute bullshit. Excuse me. I'm still a little snotty. Went to the doctors. She's done my leg. She said, have you been playing with this? I said, we're talking about my leg. I said, no. Why? She said, somebody's replaced the dressing. So then I went into the story about how I went to the doctors and they wouldn't do it for me. I phoned up the doctors. And she said, that's disgraceful. That's against NHS rules. She told me today. And she said, you must never, it's always a temptation when you've got a leg injury to dress it yourself. Don't do it. Because that's how you can spread infection in yourself. So she had a look at it, cleaned it up for me, put a new bandage on, put a new pad on. And she said, now when you leave, book another one for Friday, book another one for Monday, Wednesday and Friday next week. I said, won't it be cured by then? She said, no, not necessarily. And so book 3 the following week. Now that's what I call care. That's what I call the NHS at its best. And she said to me also, you should make a formal complaint because they should have seen you. And I said, well, they told me to go to the hospital. She said, that's just madness. That's not directing you in the right way. That's wrong. It would have taken a nurse 5 minutes to put on a new dressing. In case you just tune in, you don't know what I'm on about. I damaged my knees last week really badly, slashed them to bits, with my right one in particular. And it needs dressing. Anyway, end of story. It's done. The whole corrupt system needs to go and a new system brought in without the archaic laws, says Jane Ann Lord. I don't understand what this is. Nick Seeley says Don Donald. I don't understand that. Sorry. David KT, he's now listening to it after scaring me at the beginning of my program. I'd hang everyone by their testicles. Well, if you do what you did again at the beginning of my show, that's what I'll be doing to you, mate. Joke. The establishment is the enemy of the people, says British Life. I agree with you, my friend. I agree with you. That's why you should support the non-mainstream media. I can't believe it. You're all getting angry. You're all agreeing with Gaunty, but no one's putting their hand in their pocket. Come on. Support independent broadcasting. I'll carry on saying what I want to say. I'm not scared of anyone. I'm not scared of Starmer and his Starm troopers. Not at all. I'm certainly not scared of Mandelson. I've interviewed him a few times. I've always thought he was a see you next Tuesday. And today I've been proved right. Not only that, he's a traitorous see you next Tuesday. But they all love him. The mainstream media, they love him. And that's why they're so upset. And they've all forgotten that this is really about paedophilia. It's not about necessarily even being a traitor. It's paedophilia. They've got a network of pedos. You know all those stories when they talk about kids being abducted? Well, it's bloody true, isn't it? By the look of it. And then they go on about the Muslim rape gangs. Well, it makes you wonder, why was Starmer so slow? And in fact, it still hasn't happened, really, on the Muslim rape gangs. Are you with me or against me? Send me a comment. I was going to make a joke about you coming back from your white supremacist daughter's house in the racist countryside, but I'm too effed off with this and the Palestinian action getting off in that court case. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow, Niven. Yeah, the countryside is too white, says some black bloke who I've never heard of, who's some sort of knife campaigner. I've seen him on GB News. And also Palestinian action, going with sledgehammers, hitting a copper in the back. Oh, yeah, off you go. That's all right. That's the right kind of protest for the middle-class lovers, the sort of people who vote Labour, the sort of people who think Mandelson's a god, rather than see you next Tuesday. These people make me sick. Someone's just made a contribution. That makes a change. It's Jim Garfield, one of my regulars. He just shoved a $5 into me pot. You could do it as well. You just click on the little dollar sign. Some Labour MPs, John, admitted that they knew Mandelson continued contact with Epstein. Not just some Labour MPs, my friend. our Prime Minister, our supreme leader, but didn't know to what extent, as if that was okay and normal. Well, that's Starmer's excuse. Starmer got told by the spooks he's still talking to Epstein. He obviously didn't think it was enough to warrant not giving him the ambassador's job. So how much paedophilia is okay with you, Mr. Starmer? Just a bit of upskirting? Just a bit of touchy-feely? Was there an age? You disgust me. It's apologists like you, Starmer, that are almost as bad as the pedos themselves, because you helped to facilitate it. Paedophilia is one of the most horrendous crimes in the world, which is why I'm so tough on those rape gangs in this country, and indeed in any paedophilia. It's wrong. And now don't give me that argument. Most paedophilia, it's white people. Well, we live in a white country, but per capita, the flip-flop warriors are catching up now, aren't they? There's still an active case which I can't talk about, but last week a woman 19 times stabbed in the skull. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They obviously gave Mandy the job just to irritate Trump. Now, do you know what? I don't think you're far wrong with that, but I think Trump's had the last laugh, because I think he had this information on Mandelson. What do you think? Now where are we going next? Now the Met have told the government not to release certain documents. Yeah, well, they said that before. There'll be certain documents because they obviously want to put him on trial. So I understand that. They don't want to prejudice the case. But what we can't allow here, which I think is what you're getting at, is that to be a convenience excuse for Mandelson never to face 12 good men and true. But he must have a fair trial, because I believe in fair trials for everyone. Craig Mawson says, hi, John. Hopefully he will resign. You're talking about Stormer. What's this say? Trump, sort out our Prime Minister. Make Britain great again, says Alan Watson. Nice idea, but I can't see it happening. Where's oh, yeah. I have asked, do you think Starmer will survive? Let's have some views on that. Do you think he's Mr. Teflon? Will he survive? Will he get through this? And what do you think about Angela Rayner being our next Prime Minister? There won't be a general election. Get that idea out of your brains. There won't be. Not yet. We'll have to go through the Conservative dance, won't we? Where everybody has a go at being Prime Minister, even a fucking lettuce, before they say, oh, hang on, like a drowned rat. Do you remember that when Rishi did it? We'll have a general election. We better ask the people in our democracy to make a decision. And the people in our democracy voted for Starmer. For God's sake. Stuart Low has sent an emoji of a smiling face. Don't really work on TV or radio, that, but thanks for it. British Life, if Starmer goes, he'll just be replaced by another Brit-hating Marxist. Yes, that's not a reason for him not to go, is it? Starmer will not go until the WEF and BlackRock tell him to. Oh, come on, Daniel. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But if you want to talk like that, fair enough, but you're wrong. Starmer, he told me a lie. Truth. I knew because security services told me everything anyway. Well, that's a fair point, isn't it? It would appear that our wonderful supreme leader, Sir Keir Starmer, would rather listen to Mandelson with his track record of bullshit than listen to his own secret services that we're all paying for, who said, don't touch him with a barge pole. I wouldn't touch him with yours, so to speak. Starmer goes ahead and gives him the gig. You couldn't make this shit up, could you, really? He will not give up, says Annette Locke. He will have to be dragged out kicking and screaming. It's not about giving up. Today, there was a moment, Annette, I was watching it live, when I thought he's going to go. If you watch him in the comments, if you watch it on the news later or on YouTube, you'll see his hands are shaking. He's trying to hold them down. He knows he's on the ropes. And I'll give Kemi her due. He said, "This what I was taught in tabloid writing, working for the Sun and people. When you get somebody on the ropes, you don't stop punching, you keep punching." Disgraceful. The government and police Master and corrupt, lying servants. Thank you. I see you use the term, can Starmer cling on? Starmer is a ruddy Klingon. Thank you very much indeed. David KT, sorry, John. FB was on mute. Oh, here we go. David KT, sorry. He couldn't hear me because he'd put Facebook on mute. But then he put me into a blind panic and hundreds of thousands of people saying, could you hear? I think that requires a donation, not just an apology. Thanks, David. No hard feelings. And Maggie Young, everyone I speak to are devastated by our government at this present time, including Angela Rayner. All have hurt their own country. P.S. That vile man running for the council in Birmingham, the ex-terrorist. What an insult. You're absolutely right. What an insult. I just heard him on GB News. What an insult he is to our brave boys and girls. This is a man who's been convicted of terrorism in the Yemen. Probably the only reason he didn't do it in this country was because he's banged up over there. Oh, it's an unfair trial. Bullshit. No way should he be allowed, or anybody who's been done for terrorist offences, no way should they ever be allowed to stand in a democratic election in this country. Mr. Flanny 09, they keep blaming Russia for everything. We should be looking at our politicians first. I think that's true. Starmer is like the Terminator. Don't matter what you throw at him, he just keeps coming. I'm saying nothing. Denise Deacon, more people than ever will realise how corrupt and much worse, that they're all corrupt and much worse. It doesn't stop with this government. Evil is running the world. Denise, I agree with you. I was just talking to my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law, talking about paedophilia and just saying it's just the worst thing in the world. And especially when you're a parent, you just think, how could anyone do that? How could anyone do that? It's because they think they're all powerful. All powerful. It's the Labour Party. They have form on that subject. Well, yeah, but hold on a minute. What about the Liberal Democrats? Shall I remind you of Cyril Smith? Yeah, he was a filthy pedo as well, the big fat bastard. So it isn't just Labour, but I take on board what you're saying. They do. Anyway. Annette Locke says, I think at this point we can now see why our women and girls are being abused. Do not faze them. It doesn't faze them in the least. Yeah, well, that's why I think there's been no great rush to have the inquiry, the public inquiry, which we, the British public, are demanding into those gangs. Right, where are we going next? Terry Mayton. Come on, Terry, you can come. He won't. Let's get rid of that one. See if we can get Terry that way. There we are. I'm a veteran and I want to see this clown gone. They're all traitors. Kev Phillips, he says, Gaunty is back. I certainly am. I've been back for a few weeks. Starmer is a wanker, says Kev Phillips. Well, I can't argue with you about that. But he's a dangerous one, isn't he, as well? That's the problem. Kev Phillips, you can't just say, what about the alleged photos of, and then go on about Starmer? But using the word alleged, I know you've watched Have I Got News for You? That doesn't cover your ass. And it certainly doesn't cover mine. So don't make stupid comments. Wait and see what comes out. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just telling you about the law. All lefties and bent as cook. Don't understand that one, Gary, but thank you very much indeed. No, please don't repeat what Kev Phillips wrote. Indian Joe 52 says Mandelson is as slimy as they come. I agree with that. There's me telling off Kev Phillips, but he's just donated a £2, a super sticker. Thank you, Kevin. But be careful what you say, because the internet's not free anymore. Starmer, that's one of the things he's trying to clamp down on. He's clamping down on our free speech. That's what Graham Linehan is in America arguing about today. So if you give him an open goal, he'll score and he'll put you in prison. So don't do that unless you can fully back up what you're saying. And don't worry, these things will come out, just like Mandelson. It comes out eventually. It comes out in the wash, so to speak. Kev Phillips now saying allegedly. I just told you, don't do it. Lee and Tail 7251. John, I'll make a bet with you. Mandelson won't serve 1 day in prison. Well, that's an interesting point, that. I was saying to Lisa earlier, I wonder whether he'll get to prison. Will he mysteriously die, hang himself, or something? I'm not wishing this on him, because even though he's a filthy pervert and I'd like to execute him, No, sorry, Mandelson's not been found guilty of that. I do apologise. I take that back. But what's his name? Died in New York in a prison, didn't he? And some people say it wasn't suicide. Did the nurse put that purple stuff, iodine, on your knee like they used to when you were infants? Makes you feel young again. No, she didn't, but I did ask her to come back for a private consultation, and could she put it somewhere? No, I didn't. It's a joke. David KT, instead of shouting at the moon, John, what's your solution? Oh, he's having a go at me now. What's your solution? What would you do to solve our problem? Well, quite simple. How many times do you want me to tell you? First of all, we've got to get law and order back in place. Got to secure our borders. We've got to teach people respect. We've got to have, there's loads of things. School uniform, respect for your elders, come down heavy, zero tolerance policy on idiots. Yeah? Where else do you want me to talk about? Paedophilia, hang them. Oh, I've solved all the problems then, haven't I? Deter, detain, and deport. That's that problem solved. Leave the ECHR. Have a human rights bill that we all agree on. And we'll move from there. And political parties, transparent funding. That's just very much off the top of my head there, David. But I hope it satisfies you. Right, Jim Garfield, he's there with his comment, but he's already donated a £5, and I read out his comment earlier. Oh, who's this brat? Kev Phillips, why are you writing things like that? Don't do it. Keir will resign soon. Yeah, I think he could go today or tomorrow. But I don't want him to resign, really. I want his MPs to start turning on him and say, get out of here. I want him to feel a bit of pain. Lord Carbacan says 100,000 kids reported missing each year in the UK, apparently. I don't know whether that number's true, but there's a lot of kids who do go missing. And don't forget what I've told you about. When I was in a children's home back in 1970, I'll tell you when it was. What was the year that, I'm going to Barbados. Oh, the wonderful Caribbean Sea. When that was in the charts, or number one, that's when I was in a children's home. And I'm telling you then, there were girls being taken out of that home at night and being abused and allowing themselves, being prostituted. They didn't allow themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is, 40, nearly 50 years ago, it was happening. Been happening for years. In my new novel, I write about this, and I've had few people very interested in publishing this novel, but when they get to the bit about what's the underlying theme, which is the mass institutionalized rape of boys and girls through the care system, they suddenly lose interest. That's the way it is. It's the way it is. So thanks for your point, lad. Always liked Jon Gaunt when he was on various news channels. He's a straight talker. Well, I'm here now on YouTube, Jon Gaunt TV. Why don't you subscribe today so you never miss another show? Thorn Moore, not picking sides, but we have loads of our own pedos. We want something sorted out now, not just the Muslim ones. Both should be dealt with equally. Oh, I wonder where you were going to go with that statement, but I agree with you completely. To a certain extent, my friend, you could argue that the Muslim gangs are being used to distract us. It's like I talk about the flip-flop warriors. If Starmer didn't want any more people to get into our country illegally, he could stop it overnight. He doesn't do it. Why? Because governments love a bogeyman. It's like your mum. You behave yourself, otherwise you won't get any Christmas presents. Santa will want to know if you've been a good boy. Do you remember all that crap? It's the same thing with the government. Exactly the same. Of course, there are white rapists. Of course, there are British rapists. Of course, there are British paedophile gangs. But there are also these Muslim ones. But let's keep it in proportion. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. A paedophile is a paedophile is a paedophile, and I'd have them swinging. I'd have them all doing the Saddam shuffle. Half-time at football. You know when you go to a boring football match? So it's not Coventry. You go to a boring football match at half-time. Why don't we hang some? That's a bit of a joke, but I'm only kind of half joking. Hello, John. If Starmer goes to jail, his assets, everything that he has and owns, should be confiscated to the benefit of the public purse. Well, I'm not suggesting Starmer's going to go to prison. I'm talking about Mandelson will go to prison. He's the traitor, the real traitor. Anyway. What's this then? Oh, it's a contribution. Thank you. A super sticker on YouTube by clicking the $ at Fuzz124124. Just donated a £5. It comes as $4.99. Thank you very, very much indeed. That's very generous of you. So thanks for that. I would love to be the appointed officer that goes to arrest Starmer, or maybe the judge that sends him to the gallows. Thank you. Where are we going next? Makes you wonder if they knew what was coming up with them wanting to get rid of jury trials. Perhaps there's a lot more to come. Oh, Annette. I love you, baby. Making little connections, which I can half believe, almost totally believe. Yeah, why do they want to get rid of jury trials? Although that will be another U-turn. Do you know what? People are telling me there's loads of courts that are hardly ever used. Why don't we just use them? Why don't they work at weekends? Is it because the judges don't like doing overtime? They certainly don't like doing foreigners. That's a good joke, actually, off the top of my head. Not politically correct, but it's a good joke. I hope that Kemi and co keep up the pressure. So do I. Starmer has to go. He's colluded with a traitor, which makes him also a traitor in my book, says Jackie Ward. Thank you, Jackie. Annette Locke says, Kemi crucified him today. She did. There was almost at one point today, you know, like when you used to watch the wrestling, that you felt like somebody chucked the towel in. And get this over and done with. He was squirming. He was shaking. I bet he was doing little in his underpants and being scared and not wanting to go through on what. Honestly, that's how scared. If you've not watched it, watch it. And Kemi, I know there's a lot to do for the Tories, but she's doing well, in my opinion. If Mandelson did receive 75 grand, well, that's what Epstein says. Did he declare it to HMRC? Wouldn't be the first time he's defrauded the tax man. Follow the money, says Niven. Good one, Niven. Problem is, it was money abroad, so I don't know how. I don't know how he'd do the tax. I don't know, Niven. My ginger cat likes Angela Rayner, says taxi driver. Yes, okay, that's enough of that. I think we need to start calling Starmer Manuel. That's good. I know nothing. Yeah, that is his defence. I didn't know. You're the Prime Minister. The MPs do that all the time, though. They have two defences. One is, I'm thick and I should never have had this job because I don't know what I'm doing. And the other one is, I lied. And that's where Starmer was today. And Kemi just got him into that corner and slapped him one really hard. I wonder whether she'd defect to reform. I think she'd be bloody good, you know. John Godley, I can't find the $. That's because you're on Facebook, my friend. If you go to YouTube, your Jon Gaunt YouTube channel, you'll find it there. Or, alternatively, go to www.buyme. Just open another window now. www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you can donate there. So, yeah, I should say that the $ is only on the YouTube channel, but most people now watch on YouTube. So, but that's very kind of you to think that you'd like to give some money, John Godley. So thank you very much indeed for that. Patricia Rossborough. John Godley. No, I can't either. She's agreeing with him. Yeah. So same thing to you, Patricia. you're on Facebook. So the way to do it, just open another window, type in www.buymeacoffee.com. All the buymeacoffee.com is all one word, /Jon Gaunt, all one word, no H in John. It'll come up anyway as soon as you start typing it. And then you can donate whatever you fancy. Thank you for your generosity. Oh, he's back, our resident Frenchman, Jean-Marc Bordeaux. Hello from France. Hello. France calling. It's like the Eurovision Song Contest, isn't it? What revolutions have come out now? What are we talking about? Jean, I'm not here to give you the rundown of British politics. You need to keep on top of it. Then you can join in. But Macron, he's just as corrupt as our lot, isn't he? Jumped up little twerp. John, told you. Make a point of watching the movie The Devil's Advocate. It's a frightening premonition of what's actually happening today. Thank you very much indeed. Have you heard of Candace Owens? She's got a YouTube channel. She has. Jean-Marc Bordeaux. She's big. She's got a few more followers than me. She's very successful. But I've never listened to her. Has checked that there are no breaches of the Official Secret Act, like Mandelson diverging details of the secret tunnels in Westminster. That would really be the final nail in the coffin. That's a good point. He has done that, hasn't he? Nigel Farage or Richard Tice was going on about that. Yeah, he's talked about things that you'd only know if you've been in the cabinet. Things that you shouldn't talk about because they're secret. But Mandelson was telling Epstein, who was a paedophile. So he's not exactly what he'd call trustworthy, is he? He'd scuttle off, wouldn't he? And say, oh, you never guess what? They've got a tunnel from number 10 to the House of Commons. I don't know where the tunnels go, but that's the kind of thing he would be coming out with. Because he was a power broker. Just like Mandelson, selling secrets to a certain extent. Oh, I'm in the know. I know this. This is why the filthy scumbag pervert wanted to go to the castles, wanted to go to Buckingham Palace, wanted to go to Windsor. This is probably why he was attractive to Prince Andrew. And what the hell was Fergie up to in all this? So Epstein. And also, the thing I don't quite understand about this story about Mandelson was telling secrets, don't we have a secret service? What are they up to? Or who's running it? Is it Mr. Bean? Or is it James Bond? Probably bloody Brooke Bond, isn't it? We're the laughing stock of the world. Where are we gone now? That was 1975. I don't know what you're on about, Lena Tail. Tattooed Taxi. Oh, the song was released in 75. Typically tropical. Oh, I'm going to Barbados. Yeah, that's about right, because my mum died in 73. My dad tried to look after us for a year or so, then I ended up in care. Thanks for telling me. I still love that song. Thank you, Tattoo Taxi, for telling me. They used to use the rack in prison for traitors, says Taxi Driver. Yeah, he'd probably enjoy that, though, wouldn't he? Den Spinks. I don't ever recall Starmer apologising for anything he's done. If he did, only once. He'd have to apologise for everything else. Yeah, I think the thing with him, Den, sorry, as Elton John would say, is always the most difficult. Sorry always seems to be the hardest word. That's what it is, isn't it? Yep. John, is the Speedway still going in Coventry? No, it isn't, Steve. It's a disgrace. I used to love going to the Speedway. And when I lived in Hull, I used to go and watch the Hull Vikings. Brilliant. You might think I'm wearing a tin hat, but how long before paedophilia becomes a subscribed sexuality? You're not too far off the point, Denise. Who was it again now? 2 or 3 Labour MPs years ago, they wanted PI, which was the Paedophile Information Exchange Bureau. They supported them. They thought they were a minority that paedophiles needed looking after. Was it? Now, I'm going to be careful here. I think it was Patricia Hodge and another MP at the time. The people who were really pushing it were NACRO, National Association for the rehabilitation of criminals or something, which became liberty. They saw the error of their ways eventually, but yeah, I could see that coming back. Blair stopped the death penalty for treason. Reverse that before we move anywhere. It wasn't Blair, it was Blair's government, and it was Jack Straw who was the architect of it. You still have to declare foreign earnings, John. Income on your tax form. Yeah, actually, you're right. You do. But I don't know if you paid them. Then do you have to pay? I don't know. It's different countries, different territories. I know when I was writing TV and films, some of the money you didn't have to. You did have to put it on your return, but it didn't count as taxable income if you'd paid the tax there. It's a bit like Facebook. I get some money off Facebook. Hardly worth paying the tax, but I do get peanuts from them, and you have to declare that. You fill out a form, even though you don't pay any tax on it, because you've already paid it. They subtract. Too complicated for me. This is like the old days when I used to text into Nigel Farage LBC program. I must have had my text read 50 times. Well, good on you. It's because no one called him. I think all big charities should be investigated by the HMRC. A lot of the money is disappearing. Admin costs. Someone is making a lot of money. Taxi driver. Yeah, but that's not for tonight, is it? So we'll have that another day. But thank you for your comment. John Godley must have found the $sign because he was asking earlier, where is it? I told him where it is, next to the comments, but only on YouTube. He's found it now because he's just donated a $5. John, you are a superstar. Thank you very much indeed. No, Starmer must go now. He's messed up too many things and he's blatantly a traitor. Thank you very much indeed. That was Alan. Don't bother listening to Candace Owens, John. She's an absolute loon. Thank you. Do you know what? I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I don't really listen to any of them. I tried to listen to Mike Graham. How the hell has he got all those listeners? Is it because was that what his show was like on Talk? It's abysmal. It's just traditional crap. Where's the innovative? Well, he even did a newspaper review. Nobody buys a bloody newspaper. Jean-Marc says, I think it was Basil and Bond from the Russ Abbott show that is the James Bond of your nation. Yeah, he was funny doing that, wasn't he? I remember that. Oh, I've got to stop in a minute. Sarah Ferguson looks like a monster. She could team up with the ginger growler Rayner. Now, that's a bit naughty. Thank you very much indeed. And Brandy, 199, I'm finishing now, by the way. I wager that Donald Trump deliberately allowed Mandelson to become the ambassador because he knew all about this stuff. I said that right at the top of the program. So I would agree with you. That will give him leverage on Starmer going forward. Thank you very much indeed. Den Spink says, you was Mike Graham's idol, John. I don't... Idol. You don't spell it like that. If I'm his idol, it's IDOL. If it's idol, that's lazy how you spelled it. But yeah, he did learn everything from me. When he got the sack, he was on some poxy station that Rupert Murdoch owned in Edinburgh, and he was useless. And he came down to talk radio, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Gaunt, can you teach me how to do phone-in?" I said, "You can't teach it, mate. You can either do it or not. I can improve you. Let me have a listen to your show, and I'll call you." I listened to his show, and I fell asleep, so I never called him. Perhaps he's got better, but I've always thought he's a bit of a tribute act. There's quite a few of them if you listen to your radio. There's that Irish fella. It's just my act, but cleaned up a bit. Well, I hope they're making a living, and I hope they can live with themselves. They've never had an original thought in their lives, but there we are. Everyone's getting wound up now because of what you said about Candice Owen. I never said this. Denise Deacon says, Candice Owen's not a loon. She knows the truth about a lot. Well, I'll have to have a listen, and I'll tell you what I think. John, I'm still old-fashioned, says Steve M.O.T. I still buy a newspaper. If you think City have blown it, get well, John. Well, I'm getting well now. I don't think they have blown it, but they've got to get their act together. I want automatic promotion, Maggie. That's what I want. But we'll see. But we have been crap the past few games, even the ones we've won. But maybe we've just got a bit too up ourselves. That happens when you have a bit of success. But I'm sure Frankie will turn it round. Frankie Lampard. 3 hearts from Jackie. That means I can go. Brandy199 says, just found you today. I'll be back. Thank you. And he says, sometimes the algorithm works. Yeah, it does. You're right. Don't forget to join Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. Then you'll never lose me. When the sign comes up saying, pop-up comes up saying, would you want to subscribe? Don't be tight. Say yes, because it doesn't cost anything. And then if you do wish to donate, you can always send me a super sticker on YouTube for as much or as little as you wish. Or, dead simple, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and donate anything from a £5 upwards. You can buy me a beer if you want. 1 hour, 33 seconds, 34 seconds now for nothing. Thanks to everyone who has donated tonight. Thank you for watching. Keep spreading the word. Keep sharing the links to the show. Don't forget, I now put this up on repeat, so you can either watch it again, or if you're listening on a podcast, you can come and watch the TV version, exactly the same, apart from you see me. Or if you're watching on TV and you're going out for a walk with the dog and you want to listen to it again, you can download it as a pure audio. Easiest way to do that is just to go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. All of the stuff's there. Thank you for watching. And I think, especially when we've been talking about paedophilia, this is so important to say. If you have got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug, hold them tight, and don't forget to tell them that you love them. You love them unconditionally. So important to give your kids that security. That's enough. I'm off. I'll see you tomorrow. What day is tomorrow? Friday. It won't be at 6 because I go to the pub on a Friday, but I'll try and do one in the daytime because this story hasn't finished. Okay. Thanks a lot then. See you later. Bye.